My favorite part of Pulp Fiction is when Sam has his gun out in the diner and tells the guy to tell his girlfriend to shut up. Tell that bitch to be cool. Say, bitch be cool. I love those lines. Donald J. Trump, 45th President of the United States of America. Welcome to the INTJ Equation, a channel on psychology and typology from the lens of unhealthy INTJ. I am your host, Jeff, and today I'm going to talk about Donald Trump, who's often mistyped on personality database as an ESTP, but I will present evidence in this video showing that he's in fact an ENTJ. So if you like this content, please like, share, subscribe, leave a comment below if you agree with me, disagree with me, do you think he's an ESTP or ENTJ or a total type altogether? Just let me know down below. So I want to show you this first clip. It's from a Larry King interview way back in 1987. So he just didn't change his hairstyle, that's all there is to it. He keeps the same haircut from the 80s apparently. And in this video, he's definitely giving strong FI opinions and talking about how tired he is, giving an actual emotion, an expression of the current, the current at that time, foreign policy with Japan and other countries. He's also using a lot of TE where he's talking about money and figures, and he's asking like, why this, why that, why are we getting some of this money, why are we getting that money? So he's kind of thinking like future-based, theoretically, like even though it's something as concrete as money, he's asking why we're not getting this money. We should be. This is a possibility. So he's definitely showing his intuitive side, abstract side there, where an ESTP wouldn't really be talking about any of those things because they don't have FI, they don't have TE, and they really don't use their NI in that way. They do if they're a little bit more involved, but he's probably not that involved, really.
Well, it was very easy. I was tired, and I think a lot of people are tired of watching other countries ripping off the United States. This is a great country. They laugh at us. Behind our backs, they laugh at us because of our own stupidity and the leaders. I mean, what we have a Persian Gulf situation. You saw what happened today. Billions and billions of dollars are being spent on getting oil for Japan, and they're not paying anything for it. Essentially, they're paying nothing for it. We have tankers going back and forth that our men are protecting, losing their lives. I mean, they're losing their lives, Larry. We're spending billions and billions on protection, and those tankers are going over to Japan. It's just preposterous. I watched the Kuwaiti oil minister the other day laughing as he was explaining how much money they intend to make with the Bridgeton, which has been a total disaster, the Bridgeton. And I said to myself, isn't that a shame? He's talking about how much money they're going to make, and here we are. He's smiling and laughing. Why don't we get some of it? Why is it that we're protecting? We have frogmen, we have helicopters, we have aircraft carriers, and all sorts of ships all over the Persian Gulf, so that this man and his little group can make a lot of money. I think it's ridiculous.
And the second clip is from the same interview from 1987 with Larry King. Larry King's asking him why does he continue building these buildings and investing and doing what he did to make his I think $11 billion fortune or whatever it is. And he uses a lot of FI and SE. FI is something that, again, an ESTP wouldn't use, but they definitely would use SE. But he's talking about how he likes building buildings, building beautiful buildings. So he's definitely using a lot of adjectives to describe something concrete. And he's talking about, again, what he likes. So it's definitely a strong FI opinion and SE kind of in the present moment describing things physically.
What's the drive, Donald, that you don't have to do this anymore, that keeps you wanting to build more and more?
Well, it's a creative process. I enjoy the creative process. I like building things. I like building beautiful buildings. I like doing other things. I've been doing a lot of other things. It's a creative process, Larry, and it really gives you something to do with your life, and it's something that you can feel fulfilled and proud of when you're finished, if you do a good job.
This next clip is from the same footage we've been watching from 1987, and he's using his NI here. Like I said, ESTPs have NI, but they're kind of insecure about using it. And he's talking about Japan and how they're buying out property in New York and how he's okay with it because if he wanted to sell that money, he can make a lot of money from it. And if you stick around later in this video, he definitely talks about something like this in the future and talks about the same thing basically, so his prediction's kind of coming true. So stick around for that.
Yes, good evening, Larry. My question for Mr. Trump, it's a two-part question relating to international trade. Is the solution to the American trade deficit to restrict trade through protectionist policies, or to train American business to be more aggressive and entrepreneurial? And I'd also like to know if Mr. Trump would support a Canadian-U.S. free trade agreement.
Well, I think, just to answer your first part, I believe it's very important that you have free trade. But we don't have free trade right now, because if you want to go to Japan or if you want to go to Saudi Arabia or various other countries, it's virtually impossible for an American to do business in those countries. Virtually impossible. And I have many friends, they go over to Japan. They can't open up anything. They need approvals, they need this, that. In the meantime, Japan comes over to this country, they're buying up Wall Street, they're buying up all of Manhattan's real estate, they're buying, which is fine as far as I'm concerned, because they're paying premium prices that put people like myself in a very good position if I ever want to sell something. So the fact is that you don't have free trade. We think of it as free trade, but you right now don't have free trade. And I support anything having to do with Canada, because I think they've been one hell of a good ally.
All right, this next clip is more modern. It's during his campaign, 2015, 2016, when they start that silliness. It was when a reporter, somebody was trying to touch him. It doesn't really matter what. I'm just trying to prove a point of cognitive functions and how they manifest in conversation. And one of his aides, one of his campaign workers, whatever, took the woman and just touched her and got her off of him. And everybody's making a big deal because she's a woman. And everyone's like, why aren't you firing him? Because basically with these campaigns, like CNN smears the Republicans and Fox News, vice versa, the Democrats. It's just ridiculous. Anyways, he's going off like, why didn't you fire this guy? And, well, when I asked everybody if they wanted me to fire them, nobody raised their hand. So this is a true sign of TE. And the ESTP would have just done it or not done it.
So here's the thing. Do I ruin a man's life? He's got 4 beautiful children. He's got a family. Do I fire him and ruin a man's life over something that when I looked at the tape, I said, what's going on? You know, when I was in Wisconsin, I had a large audience. And I said, how many people saw the tape? And many people raised their hand. I say, how many people think, of those people that saw the tape, think that he should be fired? Not one, and you have it on your cameras, not one person raised their hand.
Next clip, he's showing more TE, talking about other countries and what they're doing and making decisions based on what other countries are doing. And he's also talking about the $19 trillion debt that we had at the time. I think it's more now, it's like 21 million or 21 trillion, as he mentioned. And he also, this is kind of where his NI comes together. This is kind of talking about the same things he talked about in 1987. Where that, he was saying this, I don't know if I included it in the clip, but he was talking about, like, we cannot continue getting this debt. Biden's here and inflation's here. So, yeah, so I think his NI kind of starting to surface there. And at ESTP, their NI really wouldn't surface. Their big planning is the Super Bowl party.
I know they're confused, and they shouldn't, because all they have to do is watch. And I spoke with Anderson Cooper, and I spoke to Chris, I spoke to all of them, and I spoke to the New York Times. And I thought it was a very good piece in the New York Times. Look, nuclear is a horror show. I would be probably the last to even think about using it. People say, you promised never, ever to use it. You can't do a thing like that. You have to have cards on the table. But nuclear is a horror show. Just like I said, I don't want to go into Iraq, and I said that a long time ago. I wasn't the wall hawk. There were a lot of other people. Nuclear is a disaster. With that being said, we are taking care, and if you look into NATO as an example, we are funding and taking care disproportionately of the costs of many countries, many countries that are taking us for a ride. We have to do something with NATO. When it comes to nuclear, you're going to have to ask yourself, at what point and at what cost do we continue to protect Japan and Germany and many other countries? Now, they're not paying for this protection in anywhere near what it's costing us. We owe $19 trillion. At what point do they get involved and they say, we have to pay more money for this kind of protection? Now, at some point, they may have to protect themselves. Do I like that? Not particularly. But we cannot afford it as a country. We owe, John, we owe $19 trillion, going to $21 trillion because of the horrible omnibus budget, right, which was a horror show. We cannot continue to do this.
These next 2 clips I'm going to show you is a debate with Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer, some other assholes in Congress, most likely STJs. And Donald Trump is showing some shadow functions here. He gets it stuck in his head, going, kind of using TE, like, oh, I need 10 Democratic votes, but they're not going to vote. We can't pass anything. And Schumer and Pelosi saying, well, we have a solution for you, but you won't listen. But he has his TI cynics in the shadow, but he's showing his TI opposing personality that opposes his TE. and he's stuck on this one thought where we need 10 Democratic votes and we're not going to get them. And Pelosi's just trying to argue with him and get him on board, basically. But he has this one single thought that's just totally false and can't get it out of ENTJ or ESTJ's head with the TI opposing personality.
No, we don't have the votes, Nancy, because in the Senate we need 60
No,
votes.
but in the House.
And we don't
You
have
could
it.
bring it up right now.
Yeah, but I
today.
can't, excuse me, but I can't get it passed in the House if it's not going to pass in the Senate. I don't want to waste time.
Well, the fact is, you can get it started that way.
The
And-
House we could get passed very easily,
Okay,
and we
then
do.
do it. Then
But
do
the
it.
And I want to demonstrate TI opposing personality in Donald Trump's shadow again because he's an ENTJ, not an ESTP. ESTPs have TI, father, mother, parent, whatever you want to call it. And again, Chuck Schumer's trying to say, hey, we have a border deal that's going to work and it's been effective. And he's like, nope, if there isn't border security, I'm not doing it. And the TI here, how it's working, he has his own idea of border security. And it's not going to work because it's nobody else's idea. So it just isn't going to work. And that's just how the TI opposing personality manifests in ENTJs and ESTJs. And it's really hard to get to them. And he's also using TE again, pointing to these figures. And Chuck Schumer kind of gets a last laugh because those are the figures, I guess, that have been working all along. Or, well, they haven't been working. It's atrocious.
Not threaten to shut down the government,
You don't
because you,
wanna
let me
shut
just
down the
finish,
government, Chuck.
because you can't get
The
your
last
way.
time you shut it down, you
Yeah,
got
let
killed.
me say something, Mr. President. You just say, my way or we'll shut down the government. We have a proposal that Democrats and Republicans will support to do a CR that will not shut down the government. We urge you to take
And
it.
if it's not good border security, I
It
won't
is
take it.
very good border
And if it's not
security.
good border
That's what the
security,
border
I won't
security
take it.
asked for.
It's what the
Because
board.
when you look at these numbers of the effectiveness of our border security, and when you look at the job that we're doing
You
with our
just said it is
military-
effective.
All right, thank you for watching this video on Donald Trump and how I think he's an ENTJ. I think I show some strong evidence there. If you agree or disagree, go ahead and put it in the comments below. If you think he's another type altogether, please leave a comment. Thank you for going beyond a clickbait. Make sure you like, share, subscribe if you like this content, and have a great day.